Hi everyone, my name is Lucy, and today, together with my team, I'm going to introduce the Safi, a toilet designed specifically for developing countries. Every single day, over 2,000 children die of diarrhea. It's equivalent to 50 school buses. This issue is particularly prevalent in sub-Saharan Africa, where 30% or 706 million people do not have access to improved sanitation facilities. As you can see from the diagram, the highest concentration in the world is in this region. This is due in part to the practice of open defecation, or using the bathroom without a facility such as a toilet. There are several negative effects related to open defecation. So it can, for instance, pollute local water sources, which are also used for drinking water. It can transfer pathogens and diseases to the local environment, contaminating the area, including to animals and food. There are several motivations for open defecation, so there could be no access to sanitation facilities, or those facilities are dirty and unhygienic. There can also be danger associated with them, particularly for women. This issue gets worse in rural areas, especially where there is less access to sanitation facilities such as toilets or even clean drinking water. This issue affects everyone in the community, from the young children who are far more likely to die from these diseases. It's the leading cause of death for children under 5 in developing countries, to people in the area who are unknowingly spreading illness because of this practice, to community leaders and local and national governments, and even NGOs operating in the area. The effects of unhygienic facilities and open defecation are devastating in these areas.
So, after conducting market research on the target areas as well as the relevant stakeholders, some key summations were made. Firstly, the target consumer was identified. Our project will be aimed at consumers that live in a rural area of sub-Saharan Africa, have limited access to clean water supply, and have limited access to a conventional toilet. The stakeholders' voices all pointed to the need for an improvement in sanitation through the implementation of better hygiene methods that are simple to implement yet suitable for the local community. Although it would be easier to build upon present infrastructure, this is not an option as the facilities in rural sub-Saharan Africa are limited if not non-existent. Therefore, to succeed in our goal of removing or at least reducing the rate of open defecation, we must formulate a new design that will entice the community to use our facility rather than going about their business in the open as they have been. After gathering research through crowdsourcing and lead user theory, we were able to finalize the customer needs that need to be addressed by our design. The most important requirement is for the place to be sanitary and maintain a high level of hygiene. A clean, hygienic facility is key in eliminating open defecation and in turn improving sanitation in the community. The facility should also provide a sense of security for the user, both from possible intruders as well as the environment around them. The toilet design should be durable enough for constant reuse and be able to endure the elements, whilst also being affordable to ensure it can be manufactured and implemented on a local level. Finally, the consumer should feel comfortable while using the facility so that they will choose to come back rather than going to defecate in the open. These 7 customer needs were taken into consideration through the entirety of the project, as you will see in the functional requirements as well as the design concepts later on.
The creation of functional requirements is vital to ensuring customer needs are met by the design and to help materialize design concepts. Additionally, we need to consider any potential design constraints. So first, let's have a look at the functional requirements. This is our functional requirements hierarchy. It's a great breakdown of what features our design needs to incorporate to facilitate both hygienic and safe and comfortable defecation. The functional requirements are a direct response to the customer needs we previously established. So let's discuss how they relate. For example, the functional requirement 1.1, separate waste from user environment, and the subsequent lower rungs below it. We can ask ourselves, what customer needs do they satisfy? Well, we can see they are hygiene, comfort, and durability. For example, if our toilet design was to reduce odor, then we can say that the hygiene and comfort customer need is satisfied. The same can be said for all other functional requirements. They all satisfy one or more customer needs. Another example would be that of functional requirement 1.2.1, deter pests with potential pathogens. In this case, the hygiene and security customer need would be met, as our toilet would have some feature which deters flies and other pests from entering the toilet and transmitting disease. The same can be said for withstanding weather. The customer needs satisfied can be seen here, and for providing comfort and supporting human, where the customer needs satisfied can be seen below. Ultimately, if our design incorporates all functional requirements, we are then ensuring that all 7 of our key customer needs are satisfied. Next, let's discuss design constraints. The first design constraint is the difference in water resources between communities. So Africa is a very diverse country, and many areas will greatly differ in their access to natural resources, in particular the access to water. Here you can see 2 very different types of African villages. On the right, you have pictures of villages which are next to or near water, where water is an abundant resource, whereas on the left, you have 2 pictures of West Pokot in Kenya, where water is a very limited resource, and people often have to walk up to 7 kilometers to get access to very polluted water. We want our design to help as many people as possible. So the limited access to water acts as a design constraint for us. We need a toilet design that can function without water, yet still maintain hygiene and provide a comfortable user experience. Secondly, the design needs to be easily manufactured and distributed on a large scale. The main constraints for distribution are the affordability and transportation. The toilets need to be cost effective, and they also need to be transported to these communities very easily, as a lot of them are very far away from main roads and take days of travel to reach. The final design constraint is the method of construction and maintenance of the toilets. The design needs to be somewhat integrated with the local infrastructure for easy construction and maintenance. In other words, the toilets should be designed with materials and techniques that are familiar to local people. This allows the communities to maintain the toilets for a more long-term solution to defecation and reduces the risk of the toilets falling into disuse.
Thanks, Costa. That was a fantastic analysis of our functional requirements and design constraints. Now, we've done a lot of research in our pursuit of the best toilet for disadvantaged areas, but I'd like to take the time to share with you a deeper look into just one finding that'll play a big role in allowing us to create a waterless toilet. When we go for a dump in our modern toilets, we defecate into a pool of water, then we go to flush, and a whole lot of water is used to wash away anything stuck to the bowl and push it all down the pipes. Now, many disadvantaged areas don't have such easy access to water, so the water they can get needs to be used as effectively as possible. In comes the waterless toilet. But to negate the need to flush, all that fecal matter needs to slide down the toilet bowl and then the pipes without leaving a trail of bacterial breeding ground. So, here's the good part. Nature basically has a solution for us. Some plants, like the lotus and taro, have leaves which are so repellent to water and oils that effectively nothing can stick. You can see just how hydrophobic this lotus leaf on screen is by how spherical the droplets of water are. They really just don't want to be there. Well, how does it do this, you might ask? Well, it's a 2-tiered system. The surface is covered in these bumps, roughly 10 micrometers in width, which are then covered in waxy hairs just a nanometer thick. The waxy hairs are chemically hydrophobic, pushing away most substances at an atomic level. But when combined with bumps that drastically reduce the surface's contact area, we get a material which is unparalleled in its ability to shed water, mud, and yes, human excrement. A fair bit of scientific research has gone into mimicking the lotus leaf surface, and a few paint-on coatings have even been developed. By using these kinds of coatings on the internals of our toilet, we'll be able to stop the inside of the toilet from becoming a bacterial breeding ground, without the need for any water. Now I'll pass you to Albert to talk about some of our design concepts.
Wow, Eric, Who would have thought that plant biology could provide a solution to a waterless toilet design? Speaking of design, our journey began from identifying our target customers and relevant stakeholders to pinpointing their specific needs. From there, their needs were transformed into functional requirements for which corresponding design parameters were generated. Which brings us to this stage, where we are now able to actually visualize possible concepts by carefully selecting from these design parameters. As we can see from this first design, our concept satisfies our 5 primary functions. For example, the pit separates waste from the user environment. The sealed flap minimizes disease transmission. The sturdy roof withstands a variety of weather conditions. The lock provides the comfort of privacy, and the sturdy toilet seat will support humans of all sizes. But how does our design differ from conventional toilets? Well, it achieves this through features such as the lined hole, which allows for easy removal of waste since the entire lining can be collected. Furthermore, the weight-triggered flap with a seal effectively disposes of human waste while separating the user from fecal particles and unpleasant fumes. The feasibility of this design is most evident in its lack of requirement of a plumbing system, whilst maintaining a high level of hygiene. This design also does not require any electricity and only incorporates simple mechanical systems that would easily be repaired by the community should it fail. Like our first concept, our second design also fulfills the functional requirements. However, as we can see, it employs alternate distinct design parameters to achieve a similar outcome. In the design, the solar-powered fans further reduce the unpleasant odors, in addition to the vents, further increasing the comfort of the user. The design also incorporates a removable cartridge system within a rotating chamber, which allows the waste to be directly deposited and removed with ease. With such a system in place, the toilet would be very practical to use in addition to its waterless design, and even though the fan requires power, it would be naturally obtained through the solar panels.
So now we move on to the Gantt chart. The Gantt chart is a way to track the tasks that need to be completed as we approach each deadline, and is something that we have been using throughout this term so far. The chart has been massively helpful in the first half of the term, and we're going to continue using it as the term goes on. As you can probably see, the tasks in the Gantt chart correspond to the assessments they are a part of, allowing us to effectively manage our workloads in order to comfortably make the deadlines. The chart is also split into 2 phases, the blue phase and the orange phase, which represent the preliminary and final reports. This way we can visualize what tasks correspond to which deadline, and also help us to manage our time as we approach those deadlines. So while the Gantt chart has been great at helping us stay on task so far in this term, we have faced some challenges when it comes to time management. Our biggest challenge is probably task allocation. So we determine who's doing what probably a little bit too late, so it's a little hard for somebody to plan their work for the week on this project around the rest of their schedule. So moving forward, we hope to be able to assign tasks earlier to allow each individual member to get a head start and plan ahead around the other things in their schedule. Our ultimate goal with this project is to create a safe, simple and clean alternative to open defecation. We want to ensure that these toilets will be a reliable and safe place for the members of our targeted communities, and we intend on doing so by using weather-resistant materials, simple mechanical parts, and making sure everything is easy to repair and easy to clean. So now that we have some design concepts and a clear idea of what we want to do, our next step is to evaluate our concepts and create a final design, which we will pitch in week 10. Thank you. So, thanks for watching the video. Remember to smash that like button and subscribe.